Let's see. Let's just say, instead of that one you have there, let's convert, I don't know, let's say 150 feet to inches. Now I know, and you probably know, that this is not hard math to do, and we're purposely picking easy math problems so that you can kind of get the method first. If you probably could do 150 times 12 and get your answer right off the bat. But let's start with conversion factors first. I think we all know, I picked one that we hope we know, that there is 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Courtesy of our completely ridiculous English numbering and measurement system. So anyway, 1 foot is 12 inches. That's a conversion factor right there. You can arrange it one of two ways. You can arrange it as 1 foot over 12 inches. I usually put them in parentheses. Sometimes you'll see people put them in boxes. It's the same idea. Or it can be 12 inches over 1 foot. And that'll tell you why you want to switch them. But all of this means that these two numbers are equal. If you go back and read the definition you wrote in your note guide, it said that the two numbers were equal. They represent different quantities, but they're equal in what they actually measure. 1 foot equals 12 inches. 12 inches equals 1 foot. And you would have, this is what a conversion factor is, and you're going to use these a ton in this class, and hopefully some of your other classes as well. So we call those conversion factors. Whoopsies. When you use conversion factors, there's basically 3 rules or 3 steps that we'll kind of focus on for the whole year. The first rule is always write what you're given down, or write down what you're given, I guess would be better. In this case, we were given 150 feet, so we're going to start there. Oops, I didn't leave enough space. So start there with 150 feet. Second step is then to set up your conversion factor. Setting up is really simple. You set up your parenthesis first. Looks like that always. Sort of imagine the 150 over 1, and then that means that it's going to be on top, so then this is, so it's sort of like not in the middle. It's sort of skewed a little bit. And then you want feet to cancel out, so you put feet down here, because that unit's going to cancel. So feet are going to go on bottom from the feet that are on top where you start with. And you want inches on top, because you want your answer in inches. Then you fill in the numbers. Put 1 foot on bottom is equal to 12 inches on top. Oops. Notice feet on top, feet on bottom, they cancel off, so I'm just going to draw lines on them to represent that. And what you're left with is inches, which is what you want your answer to be in. So you know you've set the problem up right if you cancel out what you don't want and keep the things that you do want, which is pretty common to do. And you just do regular math here. It would just be 150 times 12 over 1, or if they were reversed, it would be 150 times 1 over 12, but in this case, it's 12 over 1. So when you plug it in, you can just do, hello, hi, 150 times 12. And it equals 1,800. This is funny math. Do you have Miss Liberty? We're converting feet to inches, so it's going to be times 12. It's a little bit different. Miss Liberty calls it funny math. It's kind of funny, because it's sort of backwards. It's not that funny. Oh, every answer that you have now is going to have a label on it, so let's put inches there, because that's what didn't cancel out. You will always know if you set it up right, because feet cancel out, and you're left with the thing that you want. In this case, that's inches, which is what the question asked about. If it's set up right, you can't get it wrong unless you've got like sausage fingers and you just mash the keyboard keys and you don't know how to do that. You can't type things in properly, and this is what you type instead of what you're supposed to type. So make sure that you type things correctly and set it up the right way. Every problem that has some conversion in it in this class is usually around 3 points. 1 point for some setup, 1 point for the correct number here, and 1 point for the correct unit. And so if you didn't put the units on your answer, you would already be down to a D, because you'd be at 66% or 2/3. So make sure that you're always putting your units on the stuff that you want. Do you want to see another example, or do you just want to try one? OK. Oh, sorry, I didn't put step 3. That's solve. That's the best step. I'm ready to answer your question. What? Yeah, it's way better. It's made of silver, number one. Yeah, you should throw those in the garbage. I'll just leave a box for your calculators on your way out, and you can just toss them in there. And then also your iPhones, because the new iPhone's coming out next week. Just go ahead and toss all those electronics that you don't want into that box, and I will take care of recycling them properly at a pawn shop. For cash. Sorry. I think that was kind of implied. You want to try one, or you want me to do another one? Okay, good. I like your spirit. Good job. We've got spirit. Yes, we do. Okay, let's try one. Just do another measurement. Let's say convert. I've got it. 657 centimeters to inches. And if you don't know, conversion factors, I didn't mention this before, but you either know them, like you know them in your brain, or you can look them up. Or in most cases in this class, if I think they're kind of random, I will tell you what the conversion factor is. But eventually, I told you this was easy, things that you know and you can just on your calculator. But eventually we're going to have things like convert, 10 grams of sodium sulfate into moles of sodium sulfate, and you have no idea what that means. And so you're going to want to use this setup to kind of help you get there. So anyone know how many inches or centimeters in an inch? Any of you nerds? 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. This is 1 inch. Use that information to solve this problem, much like you solved the last problem. I'll give you a minute. P.S. I know that probably 2/3 you can do it on your calculator right now, but it's the setup that is important today. Bless you. If you're following the steps, the first step is to write down what you're given. You're always given some number in the problem. So that is 657 centimeters. Then you've got some sort of conversion factor. Sometimes there can be more than one, and we'll get to that problem in a second. But let's do this problem. You have centimeters on top here, so what's got to go on bottom? Yeah, you got to cancel out. So centimeters has to go on bottom there, and inches have to go on top. Some people like to write the letters in first, and then they fill in the numbers in. If that helps you, great. So we know that there's 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. In this case, we're not multiplying but dividing, right? We take, bam, 657 times 1, which you can put in there if you want, but you don't have to, divided by 2.54. And the answer we get is 258.66. 258.66 inches. How many of you guys got that? Lovely. How many of you set it up this way? How many of you correctly labeled your answer? Liars, I don't believe you. Believe none of you. Anyway, so that is how you do it. Okay, but it can be more complicated. Oh yeah, go ahead. Oh no, it can be like below 1, you mean? Or you mean like written as a fraction, literally? Like 2.58. 2/3? Oh, in that case, it'll be fine. But yeah, on the regular ones, it'll be fine. Yeah. Another question? Go ahead. Oh, rounding, good question. I usually go to the hundredths place, and I don't go further than that. So if you wanted to round to the hundredths place, I was good there. 6.1. Yeah. Don't go all the way out. That'd be kind of crazy. What if it's a little more complicated? Like, let's say if we convert, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, yesterday We ran 1,200 meter repeats. Convert 1,200 meters to inches. That is the question. All right, so sometimes there's no one magic conversion that gets you from one place to the next, but you can break it down into smaller conversions. So I don't know how many inches are in a meter, and it's probably not a round number, but I do know some other things that can help us get there. And so let's start with what we're given, which is 1,200 meters. Now I can't get, well, I mean, there's probably, if you looked it up on Google, you could certainly find how many inches are in a meter, and that would make this a one-step problem. But, you know, unfortunately for you, you're not going to have Google at your fingertips when you take tests and things. I know I'm a very hard teacher, so I'm sorry, I'm not going to let you use the internet for tests. But anyway, I can break meters down into centimeters, and then I can get from centimeters into inches, because I just learned maybe that there are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. So how many centimeters are in 1 meter? How many cents are in $1? 400? Probably 1. Let's go with 100. So lowercase m here, I'm going to put it down at the bottom to cancel it out. And in 1 meter, I know that there's 100 centimeters. That's one thing that you should probably memorize. Now, meters cancels out. That's fantastic. But I don't want my answer in centimeters. I want it to be in inches. So let's go one more step and go from centimeters to inches. I know that there are 2.54 centimeters written down bottom to cancel it out in 1 inch. Now, centimeters cancels out. And the cool thing about this is you can always tell if you did it right? Because meters canceled, then centimeters canceled, and now I have the numbers left, but the only unit I have left is inches. So I know that I've at least set it up right. So as long as I don't smash my calculator and put the numbers in wrong, it should be just fine. So we take 1,200, oopsies, times 100. Who's that? What are they doing? And divide by 2.54. You can do it all at once. That's the nice part about this, is you can just take 1,200 times 100 and then divide by whatever's on bottom. If there was more stuff on bottom, you just keep dividing. But in this case, there's only one thing on top, one thing on bottom. You're essentially saying 1,200 times 100 times 1 divided by 1 divided by 2.54, and then you hit enter. And that is 47,244.1. If you wrote 0.09, that's fine too, no judging. And I have to have labels on this, so inches. Give me my label. What do you think? It's a piece of cake, I'm wasting your time? Yeah! The nice part about this is that even if stuff doesn't make sense, you can still solve the problem as long as you have the equations or the conversion factors. So here's a set of conversion factors that I made up. Like 1 robot equals 25 bananas, or 5 bananas equals 32 sandwiches. I mean, none of this makes any sense. But as long as I have this section right here, I can answer any question about those because I have the conversion factors necessary to get me from one thing to the next. So I'm going to pass this out, work on a couple of these, and some of the ones on the other side. And then you will have a little bit of homework, but you'll finish super early because this is 4th hour, and then you'll be done. Sound good?